Hi, and welcome to the Forgive Yourself podcast. I am your host, Brenda Reese. And today I wanted to talk to you about, I'm kind of in the middle of a shit show in a way. It's kind of like a reclaiming. It's an interesting process that I have discovered and wanted to talk with you about, see if you can relate to this. Because I'm experiencing quite a few things lately in this construction of my home and how it correlates to my body, my mind, and my spirit. So, for most of you, you might know that we started this last year when I had to move my husband into memory care because it got to the point where he wasn't able to stay at home. And that's through the help of doctors. And it's been a year and a half now. And last year itself was challenging. It was quite the year, as I was just dealing with grief and trying to figure myself out. But right after he was placed into memory care is when we had windows. We had ordered windows to be replaced because we had leaky windows in the bedroom. This will make sense later. And we had to wait like 9 months to get these windows. And so I wasn't lost on how the timing of this went. Bear with me on this. So placed him into memory care. Shortly thereafter, the window people came. And as they were replacing the windows, they found a ton of dry rot in the bedroom. And it was quite a discovery. And it was pretty vast. I was able to get that. They were able to help me with that. And it was quite the process, right? So somebody had mentioned to me, isn't that interesting? It's kind of like the dry rot in the home is representative of what was going on in my husband's brain. I thought that was, at the time, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting concept. Now, I know that our bodies are vessels, and I know that everything in the world, according to my perception, has energy in it, and things represent things. And I've known that my body kind of is things outside of me can reflect what's going on inside of me and vice versa. That's part of what I believe. And so it was an interesting experience. I didn't really have time because I'm navigating deep, deep grief last year. And I'm still in grief, but I'm handling it so differently now. It's having a husband with dementia doesn't relieve you of grief. It's not like he's gone. It's an everyday grief. Yet through my practices and through talking and through honoring my feelings, I have been able to get to a different place with the grief. And that has been super helpful. Okay. I wanted to share today about the correlation between the house that's going on now, because I'm doing more to the house, and my body and emotions. And I'm into this like 3-week process of I had the rest of the windows replaced. Yes, they found a little bit more dry rot and they found some black mold. Luckily wasn't toxic. But that was in my husband's old office. And I thought that was interesting. And so when they discovered that, it was fascinating because when they opened up this window and they found all this, it was soaking wet, by the way. All the insulation was wet. The drywall had mold on it. There were ants everywhere. It was kind of gross. But they said, you know what? We gotcha. We'll handle this. It put me into 3.5 days of a deep, deep feeling of loneliness. I mean, guttural, deep, deep loneliness. And I was thinking, oh, well, maybe my body's finally feeling safe enough, which I think is part of it, to feel the deep grief, right? That it wasn't just from my relationship and the dementia diagnosis, but, whenever we have experienced grief, it's never just the one thing. That's my belief and what I've been trained as a grief educator and what we've learned. It's about the many griefs that we're not able to ever fully grieve because we are illiterate as far as grief is concerned in this nation. I wish we weren't, but we are. And so we don't process it the way that we could process it. So I digress a moment. So coming back, you know, it was this 3.5 days where I just allowed, I just honored my feelings. And I had felt like this was familiar. And then it came to me as I allowed it, because I really couldn't do anything else, because there's a lot of construction going on in the home and I work from home. So I really couldn't take any calls. I couldn't do anything except for be with these deep feelings. And so, which I think was a gift. The universe does for us what we can't do for ourselves. So I was allowing, and what came up for me was, oh my God, I have felt like this all of my life. As far back as I could remember, I have felt lonely, even in a room full of people, feeling like I didn't fit in, feeling like I was different. Have you felt like that? I could have sworn I was adopted when I was a kid, and I'm hoping that you feel the same, because I don't leave me hanging like I'm alone here. I'm just curious. Have you ever felt like that? It was interesting, the things and the thoughts and the visions and the memories that came up for me. Now, I believe they come up when they're ready to be worked through or healed, however we want to term that. And it was fascinating to me, because the more I allowed, the more I honored, the more I was held, because I could share with a few real trusted people what I was feeling. In about 3.5 days, it lifted. It just started to lift. And I was feeling more clear about this process. Now, the windows kept being replaced, right? And I believe that, the eyes are the window to our soul. So maybe in a house, right, the windows represent that. And it was interesting when I was doing I did some research, just to see what else was out there about this. And they were saying that, that the eyes or the windows can actually be, allow sight and connection with the outside world. Also, I'm having the siding replaced in my house, the rest of it. So they started it last year, only a piece of it. And now they're doing the rest of it. And as they're taking off the old, they're putting on the new. And that's exactly how I feel. Well, it's what I feel I'm going through this year, as the heavy, heavy grief had started to lift, and I'm learning to navigate this new way of being in relationship, in my marriage, in the world. It was like, oh, as I feel like I'm coming out of a cocoon, because I have been in a cocoon. I had to be, because of the deep, deep feelings that I was feeling. And I could come out and then I'd have to go back in. I could come out and I had to go back in, because I didn't have the capacity to give a whole lot. I had some to give, but not a lot. I even couldn't work my business. I couldn't take on really new clients unless, I knew them or they were referred. It was just this very interesting place to be. And now, as I am coming out of this cocoon, as we call it, or I'm calling it, it just, the timing's not lost on me, that the windows are being replaced so that I can look at life differently. And also the outside world. I can look at the outside world differently, but the outside world can also look at me with some new siding, right? With just this new, it's like putting on a new wardrobe. It's showing up differently. And in this research, it said that the exterior, the facade of the house, represents the persona that we want to present to the world. The interior reflects our thoughts, feelings, and inner life. And then it talked about the attic and the basement, which I had heard before. The basement represents the unconscious, or or where our deepest fears and desires are. And the attic is more like our dreams and our goals. And that can also represent some unconscious things, but usually they represent the attic with more of a positive, I guess I'll call it. So as I'm sitting with this, I'm feeling, this is what I've learned. You know, what happened with this deep loneliness? What came out of that was really understanding that I have felt like this most of my life, but I kept myself busy. Busyness was my go-to. That was my distraction. Okay, before there's been food, there's been relationships, there's been drinking. I drank for 20 years of my life and I'm sober now. And all to run from, distract from, hide from these deep, deep feelings. And I have felt different and lonely, so I try to cover that up. So I keep myself busy. Also, I am a recovering people pleaser, which I think, can you relate to that? I've been doing a lot of work because most of my life was spent pleasing other people. External validation, huge for me, because I did not know. I was afraid to know who I was on my own, but I would look to someone else to tell me. And I learned a lot through that. So when I sat with this deep, deep loneliness, what came up was, it's time. I've been working on this for quite a few years, and I guide women through it. And this is a deeper layer of vulnerability. It's a deeper layer of knowing myself. It's a deeper layer of seeing the places that I was not being honest with myself, not speaking my truth, trying to be kind and nice, which is good, but almost to a detriment. I'm holding myself back. I'm tiptoeing around people and things and not speaking what really needs to be spoken, not allowing myself to be the person that I know that I am, that I was in private, but some people didn't get to see. So now I get to be unscripted. Now I get to be authentic. Now I get to practice all these things that I really help other people with on a deeper layer. Because I think this is what the world is calling for now. The world is needing us to be truly, this is the authenticity, is really getting down to the nitty gritty of who I am, what I represent, what are my true values, not based on someone else, but allowing myself to know me. And the only way that I could find me was through these years. That's what I think this deep grief over the last few years, that's the gift, if we want to call it that, from this dementia diagnosis, is allowing me to finally feel what has been really buried for a long time, was the grief of not being seen, not being heard, not being understood, because I didn't know how on these deeper layers. And that we all go through this, right? At a younger age, we come up with these personas that we feel need to be seen in the world. Like, look at how much I accomplished, and look at how good I am. And I'm such a hard worker, and I'm going to really work myself to the bone so that I can get validated and feel valued. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't know about you, but it's exhausting. And I'm choosing me. I'm choosing to be different. I can be of service in a whole different way when I am willing to be rigorously honest with myself, and then help other people do the same thing. So I wanted to share that with you today. There's no steps. There's no anything. Just me talking to you. And let me know if this relates at all, because you matter. You really do. I matter. We all matter. And that's what we really need in this world right now is regardless whether we agree or not, we all have wounds and we got to quit lying to ourselves. I know I am not going to do that anymore. So you'll see me unscripted, and I hope I get to see you unscripted. And until next time, take care of you. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy it, would you do me a favor and share this episode and then follow us on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss one episode of the Forgive Yourself podcast, where every Friday you will get tips, tools, and stories so that you can turn your pain into peace. Take care.